I'm Kristen. I work for the RBMA international team, technically events. So I help program the New York festival we do, the Academy, what we did in Sao Paulo this year. So everyone's seen kind of like real worlds, but the Academy is far more of a bigger experience than I even imagined too when I had experienced the one in Montreal. I was working, so I got to kind of see the fun from a bit of a distance. I had fun sometimes, but basically, you know, you do kind of a 2-week, if you get in, you're in a 2-week kind of session, and we have 1 week off as we're working it, and then there's a next session that comes in. The group that's picked is definitely all kind of complements to each other. So, you know, if you haven't gotten in before, you should definitely try again, you know, because it's a lot about the combination of people versus just like, is this good or not? It's not really like that. All kind of different ages. In terms of what kind of musician you are, you know, I think people always do have that perception of RBMA is more kind of, it is more rooted in electronic music. A lot of us on staff come from more of an electronic music background, but it is changing a little bit, and I think it has been that because of the history of the Academy 20 years ago and why we're going back to Berlin. So you'd wake up in the morning and have breakfast. There's a lot of eating. We do. There's this big cafeteria. I worked on the building as well from Montreal, which was really fun. That's why I say kind of real world style. So there's this big breakfast area. You'll probably gain like 10 pounds in 2 weeks, so get prepared. Then after breakfast, you go to your first lecture. And you know, when we say lecture, it's actually really kind of an interview with one of our awesome journalists and, you know, someone on the couch. This can be someone like Suzanne Ciani, Bjork, you know, big, small, more of a performer, more of a backroom person. Then you break and you eat again. Some people go into the studios, which are normally in the same building, or eat. Then you go to your second lecture. So there's a lot of sitting and, you know, being focused, which for me, I can sometimes have my mind running around, but it's a really good kind of excuse to kind of sit in a room and really like listen to a person explain in detail, you know, their history without some kind of timer on it. And I think that's really something that the Academy prides itself of. There's not a limit to how long these are. Sometimes they go for 3.5 hours and people are like engrossed by the end of it. But yeah, and then you get out of that second one and then you eat again and drink some and go and work in the studios. And then every night there's also a show. So that's kind of where I was in the venues most of the days in Montreal. But these shows, they're with a lot of artists. I would say maybe like 80% of the artists that we book that aren't Academy participants are people from the country that we're doing, or have some kind of really direct tie to the country that we're doing the Academy in. And then all of the people accepted also have a show. So, which is interesting because and we try to make sure that it's a show that makes sense for them musically. But as mentioned before, like Academy participants vary. You know, some people it was literally their first show, you know, and then other people they've been performing since they were 5 and have played as their own artist name for a while. But yeah, so every single night you're going to a show, you're out really late, then at the end of the night, you can go to sleep at the hotel you're all staying at, or a lot of people go back to the studios and you can work all night technically. So, and there's a snack area. This is why I say the real world parallel, and beer and wine and stuff. So it's pretty fun and tiring sometimes. And then after 2 weeks of doing that full on, you kind of all come together again, share the music you've made, and we have kind of like a final blowout party and stuff.